cats and dogs? Pah! Some cannot settle for these pedestrian pets. Some require something more exciting and exotic. But what happens when they're not really domesticated animals go apeshit on their ass? Well, you about to find out on Deep Fat Fried.
Deep Fat Fried.
Better be careful with this one, TJ. You better be. I'm telling you,
careful, huh?
You remember what happened to me with the fucking ape escape video, TJ? You better make sure that you cover this respectfully.
What's that?
I'm gonna be super.
Was that
respectful.
not a 6-month ideology ban you received for that?
Full half year, Scotty. I could not stream to ideology because I made an ape escape joke about the lady.
Oh,
we're probably gonna talk about. So,
I better share.
And unfortunately, that one time that me and Taylor said we were gonna do sex on your ideology for money.
So here is a
whatever.
YouTube. Here's the thing about it. Here's exotic animal laws. 19 states ban private ownership of dangerous exotic animals. Others have partial bans or allow owners to keep them if they get license or permits. 5 states have no laws regulating ownership. You can see here.
The U.S. should just be all red. There should just be a sea of red. There shouldn't be any. There should be one category to this. There should not be like, oh, there's nuance to this. Like, really, not for the most part.
So if you really want to have an exotic pet, get in one of those blue states.
This is like a failure.
They'll let you do whatever you want.
This is a pretty good example, like, of a failure of the federal system, because the fact that there's ambiguity in neighboring states means that people in California own tigers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even though it's illegal for them to purchase tigers, there are people that own tigers in California because across the border in Nevada, there's no legal standing at all. There's no laws. You can own whatever animal you want. You can have a fucking gorilla for a pet in Nevada if you want.
Death by deer.
Dude, can I tell you something about deer and moose and elk real quick before we start?
Sure.
People think that these animals are like fun little prancing things in the forest. These are beasts, bro. They will gore you as soon as they'll look at you, dude. A big buck like this right here.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, I'll tell you right about it. In November of 2010, 67-year-old Gerald Rushton of Wascom, Texas, was brutally gored to death by his pet European red deer. Rushton was known to have owned several exotic pets illegally and was determined to domesticate them. Rushton was doing his normal routine of feeding his several exotic pets when he entered the cage of his European red deer. The deer began to aggressively gore and trample the man to death. Rushton's young granddaughter was with him at the time and ran to her grandma for help. Grandma Rushton called 911 and soon police arrived and opened fire on the deer.
This is kind of what I hate when stupid shit like this happens. It's always the animal that gets like put down for it, not the stupid fuck that was keeping a wild animal as a pet.
He was
also
put down. So
well, yeah, but I mean, it's just like, why did the animal have to die? Because it did what it naturally would do in the wild.
Well, you know why?
Because it was determined by the Texas Parks and Wildlife game that the deer was in a rut. Rutting usually occurs near the end of the year in males of many species, including deer, goats, bison, giraffes, elephants, skunks, etc. They produce more testosterone. Aggressive. Yeah. Yep. It increases their aggression because they have more testosterone flowing. It's like the time of year when they would normally be combating each other to, win the hand.
Well, that's the problem when you keep
hoof of a
herd.
mate.
Well, this is a herd animal too,
right?
So basically, I'm not sure exactly what their social structure is, but I would assume that he's normally going to be he's normally going to be fighting with a bunch of other male deer
for mating rights. Yeah.
So the only thing he has that's going to external in his life, probably besides being in a small pen, was probably this dude. I'm not saying it's small, maybe it was a large area, but whatever.
That's what that term that they use, in a rut, means. It means literally like rutting, like they're in a fuck frenzy. They're like overcome with the lust and will and desire to fuck.
Here's the news story about the incident.
A horrible death this morning in Harrison County as a man raising exotic animals is killed by a 500-pound European deer.
It happened around 11 this morning at a residence south of Wascombe in the 5,000 block of Farm to Market Road 9. KLTV7's Bob Hallmark has more on the tragic death of a man who loved to raise.
Yeah, it's real tragic for you,
animals.
isn't it?
This is a
You can
wild
tell she's
animal,
really broken up.
and
Yeah,
is
total
not
tragedy
a
here.
Sheriff's deputies say 67-year-old Gerald Rushton.
I think
was raising
they've done
a
that
Euro-
incorrectly. I think that was the wrong voiceover. I think they had to add that later. It was like, this stupid son of a bitch had a big-ass deer. It was
red
horny.
stag,
Look at
like
it.
this one, sometimes called a red elk.
Well, that's
on
not
his
the
property,
one,
along
but
with
they have
other
an
animals.
example picture.
The
I guess.
gentleman had been raising exotic animals for quite some time and had been warned by the game wardens previously that it was illegal and dangerous.
Warned?
What? What do you mean? He was warned?
Man, how nice of them.
You know that's illegal and that's probably dangerous.
You know, you ought not be doing that.
See,
it's illegal.
Get off
What's-
my property, Texas.
What's the penalty? Well, you just received it. We warned you.
We're going to give you
Bye.
a stern talking to, then leave and do nothing else.
You don't take care of this matter now, we're going to have to send you a strongly worded but polite letter informing you of the same. It's
Well,
like,
he
all
got
right.
the message eventually anyway.
Yeah, I guess he did,
As
didn't
he was entering the stag's pen to feed it, the 550-pound animal became aggressive, charging him and pinning him against the fence.
And while he was apparently opening the gate, the deer took an aggressive posture. Mr. Rushton fell and was gored several times by the large rack that this animal had.
Rushton
Large
had been
rack.
warned by game wardens about the risks of raising a red stag.
You know, anyone that
He was a stupid son
under high
bitch.
fence or in their residence.
Let me do this, man. Ain't a dumb bastard.
I mean, this is such a bad idea.
Warned him several times. You ought not have that there, but then he just
Deer,
wouldn't.
I think, Paul, I actually believe, if I'm not mistaken, the deer, by the numbers, are actually the most dangerous animal in the U.S. or one of them. They're in the top three. I know that.
Yeah,
much,
they're
I think.
definitely high up in America. I think only eclipsed by bears, I think.
It's something like that.
Maybe
Horses
not-
actually
not,
a lot
not
of
even bears, because bear attacks are actually incredibly rare.
horses actually kill a lot of people. But that's because
Yeah.
of like riding accidents and
Well, they
shit.
also like kick,
Or kicks.
You know,
I knew-
yeah.
I
yeah,
knew
he
a
could be
kid-
kicked.
I knew a kid that went around the flank of a horse that was tame and everything. When I was a kid, he was the younger brother of one of my friends. Took a shot in the head and was functionally mentally retarded for the rest of his life because of it. Just took
Yeah,
a hoof
man.
to the face, and
It's even a miracle he lived, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
'Cause
a lot of
I've seen
people just
videos
die.
of I've seen horses get kicked by other horses and die on the
Yeah.
spot. So,
Humphrey Hippo.
oh my fucking god, you cannot be serious. You could not be serious. This is literally the deadliest animal in Africa besides people, and I guess mosquitoes. Like, you don't fuck with these animals. Hippos are insane.
I believe the deadliest anima per capita on the planet Earth, if I'm not mistaken. I think more people
Oh, this
are
guy's
killed by
riding
hippos.
one. Yeah, look at him. He's happy. This is Humphrey Hippo.
I've actually heard about this story, unfortunately. It doesn't end well.
Pet hippo Humphrey mauls owner Marius to death.
My God.
Who could have
They're-
seen
and they're
this coming?
massive. Yeah, they're massively powerful animals.
A
too.
farmer in South Africa has been killed by his pet hippopotamus, despite repeated warnings that it was a wild animal and could never be tamed.
Hey, if you guys notice a pattern that people around them said, like, warned them and literally came to these people and said, like, this is a bad idea what you're doing, and they just for some reason just kept on doing it.
Pioneers, Scotty, the pioneer spirit. Marius Els, 40, an army major, was bitten to death by a 1.2-ton hippo he christened Humphrey and tried to domesticate on a farm in Free State Province on Saturday. Major L's savaged body was found submerged in the river where, years earlier, the hippo had been rescued from a flood. He grew too big for the people who adopted him and was bought by Major L's at the age of 5 months, becoming a pet on his 160-hectare farm and learning to swim with humans. This year, Major Els was photographed riding on the 5-year-old hippo's back. Humphrey's like a son to me. He's like a human, he said. There's a relationship between me and Humphrey. And that's what some people don't understand. They think you can only have a relationship with dogs, cats, and domestic animals. But I have a relationship with the most dangerous animal in Africa.
And that relationship should have been at the most been kept you at a fucking distance. Like he could have like had this hippo. Like, okay, this hippo can live on his farm. I'm not saying that's not possible. But him riding it and interacting with it the way he did was insane.
I've been to zoos that have hippos. Most people have. Hippos are pretty common at zoos. And I've watched zookeepers, and they're so careful. They do not ride these hippos or walk up to them and like scratch them behind the ear and shit.
Listen to all this shit.
They lure the hippo, because usually like at zoos, hippos are in like a muck pool is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's time for the hippo to bed down or whatever the fuck, or go back to the bigger enclosure that's not in front of people, they don't like go like, come on, Humphrey the hippo, get on out of your pool and let's go. They like lure it with food and sound and shit so that it goes into the pen. There's nobody in there with it. They don't fuck around with these animals.
This is the shit.
Yeah, they tranquilize them if they have veterinary care done to them. They have to be tranquilized.
I want to read you all
the other wild animal. Yeah,
I want to read you all the ignored signs. But Major L's wife, Louise, a pharmacist, expressed misgivings, and the hippo had caused trouble before. South African media reported this year that a 52-year-old man and his 7-year-old grandson spent 2 hours in a tree after being chased by Humphrey while canoeing on the river that passes through the farm.
They're territorial animals, of course.
Major L's finally tempted the hippo away with an apple while the pair were rescued by paramedics. Humphrey was also blamed for killing calves belonging to Major L's business partner. The animal also frequently broke out of its enclosure and chased golfers at a local golf club. Major L's, who also kept a giraffe and rhino, claimed the sound of his voice would lure Humphrey back home. He regarded the hippo as lovable and a gentle giant. Yeah, he sounds so gentle. It sounded like there was no warning that this was going to happen whatsoever. Armed with giant canine teeth, hippos are said to kill more people each year than lions, elephants, leopards, buffalo, and rhino combined. They can move at speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour despite weighing up to 3 tons. In a video posted online in March, Major L's feeds Humphrey apples, swims with him, and rides on his back. I call him, and he immediately responds to come play with me. I feed him apples. He opens his mouth, big jaws, and teeth like this, Major L says in the video. It's a little bit dangerous, but I can swim with him. I go in the water. He allows me to get on his back, and I ride him like a horse. He swims with me. The video ends with Humphrey tossing Major L's from his back into the water. There you go.
I mean, all it takes an animal like this one time to be like, Major L's, I don't like what you're getting on my back today. I'm going to bite your ass, and you're fucking dead.
Here's a little video of Humphrey
trying to kill him.
I'm going to kill you. Oh, I'm going to kill you.
Hippo's just like, okay, what's going on?
I mean, if I'm being honest, it does look like they have some bit of a rapport. I mean, I don't deny that.
Oh, yeah. The danger with wild animals isn't that you can't develop a rapport with them. It's that rapport is one-sided.
Yeah.
So Humphrey is doing Pavlovian conditioned response here. When Humphrey does those things, Humphrey gets apples, and Humphrey likes apples. That does not mean that one day Humphrey will decide, like, I want to eat this person that's on my back, or this person on my back has pissed me off today or has transgressed me in some way. That's unknowable in the hippo mind. That's the danger of these animals. And that often happens. Like, I don't know if you bring him up in this episode, TJ, the grizzly man. Is he here?
No, because he didn't really make pets of them.
He wasn't pets of them, but the same principle was at play. This is a dude that falsely believed through anthropomorphization that he had developed some kind of a rapport with a group of grizzly bears, and then was brutally eaten alive on camera by that same group of grizzly bears.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't deny. I mean, like, my perception of it is more like in his mind, he had a rapport. Obviously, we don't know what the fuck Humphrey thought at all, but I would assume
it just wasn't based on the same things. Like his rapport with Humphrey from the human side was based on this idea.
I love him. He's great.
I love him. He's great. I've trained him. He'd never hurt me.
And Humphrey's like,
Humphrey's rapport was, hey, I've learned a few things that if I do this thing will give me apples.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lizard lunch.
Oh, fuck this thing, dude. Fuck this.
Monitors. A big monitor lizard, isn't it?
Yep. 42-year-old Ronald J. Huff loved lizards. He loved them so much that he let his 7 6-foot-long venomous Nile monitor lizards roam free in his Newark, Delaware apartment.
He had 7 of these things?
He had 7 giant monitor lizards.
I can understand having one.
Ronald kept his apartment at 80 degrees, would throw Madagascar hissing cockroaches and chickens on the ground for his lizards to chase and eat. On January 16th, 2002, Newark police entered the apartment to find the 7 monitor lizards feeding on Ronald's corpse.
They loved him to death.
Here is a, I guess, artistic rendition of what was there.
So he was just like in the corner with his face and upper body
like
chewed to shit.
His hand has been chewed off. Basically, most of his body has been chewed away.
This is what the corpse of a person looks like when a wild animal or a group of wild animals has gone at it. They go for the soft tissue first. And the softest tissue that you have on you is your facial tissue. So
Neighbor
they rip that shit off first, and then they go for the throat and the shoulders and the arms and the meaty parts of the upper chest. This is how they eat. They'll eat the fucking extremities. So this is fucked.
The same way you would eat a chicken or something,
right? Yeah,
you're gonna eat the easiest, most accessible, most meaty parts first, and then
Neighbor Jeff Wildonger witnessed the aftermath after police failed to cover up the body. He said, "You're able to stand 15 feet from the door, so the corpse was in sight. It was horrific. The blood had just all turned black. It looked like fake blood. His cheek had been eaten off by, and his molars were where his ears should be. They had eaten his face, eaten his hands, and they had eaten into his abdomen and eaten some of his internal organs. It is unknown if the lizards killed Ronald, as post-mortem was ruled inconclusive. One theory is that one of the lizards bit Ronald and eventually passed out from the venom bacteria and the apartment's intense heat, bringing up symptoms in a faster manner than they normally would have progressed. But it's actually unknown why.
So he
Ronald
might have just
died.
Ron might have just had a fucking heart attack.
Could have been, but I guess whatever the lizards did to him,
you have to
covered up any evidence.
You have to understand how these lizards hunt in a similar way to what I assume is a distant relative of theirs, the Komodo dragon. Which the Komodo dragon is a huge beast, but it doesn't take prey directly. It gets up close enough and bites prey, and the bacteria and shit in its mouth festers and creates a wound that never heals, and the prey gets weaker and weaker. And then when the prey is weak and incapable of defending itself, the Komodo moves in with the other Komodos, and then they take it down. So that it's very likely, or at least possible, that that's what happened in this case. This dude obviously loved these lizards, didn't want to get in trouble, probably got bit by one and thought, this happened before, I can deal with it. And then he got real weak from the wound or something and sat down to take a rest. And the lizards were like, well, wound festered enough. Let's get him, boys. And he was too weak to fight him off. There were 7 of these fucking things in the apartment.
Oh my fucking God, dude. Yeah. Or he just fucking, wait a minute. Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's lunch.
Here's a guy. This is not the guy.
Chill out.
Chill out, reptile.
I was supposed to make this video last night, but I ended up.
This is perhaps this guy will be the next victim. But yeah, he's gonna feed the lizards some fucking rats and stuff.
Well, let's see the rat get introduced.
All right.
So this is how these animals are. Just the nature. Yeah.
I mean,
cuddly and friendly.
Its head and immediately went into like what amounts for a death roll for these types of animals, which is to grab a crocodile will express this type of behavior by grabbing hold of something and then just spiraling in the water.
Right. Because usually they feed in large groups. So basically, that's how they rip the animals apart.
Right.
Yeah.
And ensure that the animal is dead and can't fight back, so they can feed on it safely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so this lizard just basically brutally killed the rat
like a fucking,
by thrashing it.
Like a massacre now. I mean, you see it.
Yeah,
it's just blood everywhere. So, I mean, you see this is like You know, I mean,
that's their nature. I mean, that's
I don't want
that's
to get
how,
too graphic with it, but
of course. But this is how they act with smaller prey. So I mean, they're going to treat. I mean, obviously, they're not going to be able to pick up a
so
person.
just imagine 7 of these like gnawing on your face, and then
No, thank you.
I hope for Ron's sake that he was just dead. He died of something else, and he was not conscious when this happened.
And in his defense, in that case, if that's what happened and he just had a heart attack and these animals started feeding on him post-mortem, if you've got cats, they'll do that to you too.
Yeah, your cats will actually do that to you as well.
Yeah, whenever I'm dead.
A lot of dogs too.
Python peril.
I mean, look, if I'm dead, don't let my body go to waste.
Yeah, eat
Snake
it up.
owner Daniel Brandon killed by his pet python.
I mean, this guy was definitely fucking warned.
A snake owner was killed by an 8-foot pet python he called his baby, an inquest heard. Daniel Brandon, 31, died from asphyxiation in his home near Basingstoke, Hampshire on 25th of August. One of the pets, a female African rock python named Tiny, was found near his body out of its pen. Coroner Andrew Bradley said there was no doubt Mr. Brandon died as a result of contact with Tiny, and he recorded a verdict of misadventure. Mr. Brandon had kept snakes for 16 years, and Tiny was one of 10 snakes and 12 tarantulas he kept in his room at his family home, North Hampshire Coroner's Court heard. His mother, Barbara Brandon, said her son owned Tiny since it was small enough to fit in his hand. He never felt threatened by Tiny and was aware of how strong it was, she said. But there were occasions when it would strike out if she entered the room. She told the court on the night of her son's death she heard a banging coming from his room, but assumed it was a dumbbell falling or that he had knocked something over. She later discovered Mr. Brandon unconscious in his bed and later found the snake coiled under a cabinet.
Dude, there's a video. Maybe the editor can go and find it. I don't think, we need to go find it right now, but there's a video of somebody handling one of these large pythons for a TV show. And it actually illustrates perfectly why most people should not own these animals. This was a self-purported expert that brought some exotic animals to show off. And he had one of these large pythons coiled around his arm and his body. And all of the sudden, see, what people don't realize about these snakes is they're very chill in appearance. Have you guys ever been around a python or touched one?
Yeah.
Oh,
they're very chill animals. Like, you can touch them. They move very slowly, right? When they engage, they're nothing but
totally
solid
different.
strangling muscle. And so what happened is the python, as this guy was talking, slowly coiled its tail and part of its lower body around his arm. And then it seizes those muscles up and goes into strangle mode. And his arm goes rigid like a board. And he's like, ah. And then the fucking snake literally bites him on the shoulder as he's doing this. And he's trying to get, like, I've seen this fucking clip before. And it literally shows you, they managed to save the dude because there's 3 other guys there that wrenched the fucking python off of him. This guy didn't have 3 guys there.
No.
So he died.
Cassowary catastrophe.
Another animal you don't fucking go near. This so dangerous.
Admire from afar.
Yes.
Admire from. Dude, I don't get why people want to fucking own these dangerous ass animals. Like, I know they're beautiful, but they belong in nature. They don't belong in your fucking backyard.
In March of 2019, 75-year-old Marvin Hayos of Florida was killed. Excuse me. By one of his many pet cassowaries. He had a bunch of these motherfuckers. Here he is.
Look at their claws, dude.
Marvin was an exotic pet breeder and owned many of these large birds that are native to New Guinea, the Aru Islands, and northeastern Australia. Cassowaries can stand up to 6 feet tall and can weigh up to 200 pounds.
Damn.
Here's a basic size comparison. This one is obviously not quite the 6 feet. Maybe it would be with his head outstretched.
If it was standing at its full extended height, it would probably be
it
taller
might
than
be
6 feet.
But it's a big old bird, for one thing. The cassowary has been labeled by some ornithologists as the world's most dangerous bird. And during World War II, American and Australian soldiers stationed in New Guinea were warned to stay away from them. That is probably because they have gigantic fucking talons.
It's almost like the fucking, we covered shit like the terror bird and shit. Like, they're a lot of similar to those things. They're fucking terrifying. You actually like them.
If you were covering something else and you presented the screenshot that's on the screen right now as a clip from a Jurassic Park movie where they were examining the claws of a sedated raptor, I'd go like, oh, I don't remember that scene, but yeah, I guess so. That's what this looks like. This looks like a velociraptor's claw.
I mean,
it is.
We basically, it's not far off.
Right. Distant cousin.
So on the morning, one morning, Marvin entered the large enclosure where he tripped and fell. One cassowary soon began attacking Marvin with his dinosaur-like claw, ripping into Marvin's flesh. Marvin managed to fight off the bird and escape and call police. He was rushed to the hospital where he later died due to his extensive injuries. Marvin's fiance stated that he died doing what he loved.
Like every other dumbass.
I'll tell you what, he loved having cassowaries. I'm just going to keep them on.
Here is the news story.
And they're mean.
You can see a little bit of a
claws and a vicious kick that can pack a massive punch. Seemingly part raptor.
Shut up, news lady. You annoying.
Seemingly part raptor. Seemingly the most annoying news coverage you can imagine. Hello, we're a couple of vultures.
Killed by cassowary. Here, let's say.
Knew Marvin and who understand his passion for preserving.
Well, whatever. We already know. I don't think you're getting any new information out of here, do you?
You know what the fucked up thing about it is? And I don't mean to step in for these like wild exotic pet breeder people, but there are like this dude might have had a role in conserving these species because I know the cassowary is an incredibly endangered species.
It is.
And so like, here's the thing. Like there are people that do these like well-funded and well thought out and safe conservation efforts like nonprofits, right? Mm-hmm. Where there are definitely like protocols for dealing with these animals that preclude you walking into an open pen with them. You know what I mean? Like you feed them through a third stage type of situation where it's like you go into the pen, but only behind a gate and you lay the food in there, or the animal is lured out of the pen and into an enclosure before you go in to clean the pen. Like these are standard protocols at safe places. So this guy died because he believed, once again, that these animals had some kind of rapport with them because he took care of them. They don't.
Yeah. This isn't a dog. You know what I mean? Like these are animals with long. I mean, even dogs can kill people. But
even
I mean,
dogs
obviously
mistreated and you know, like abused and stuff will turn on people or bite.
Even ones that are not, Paul. Even dogs that people. We had a story around here, dude. Like literally a few streets up from where I live, some 7-year-old woman, these pit bulls got out and just mauled her to death.
Let me tell you something. Just imagine fucking back in the day, you know, like Thag and shit, right? It's like, you see Thag. Thag keep wolf. Idiot. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, like we wouldn't be, I mean, like obviously fucking people thought that back then. There was like wolf dangerous, big teeth, idiot Thag, you know, but like obviously we would never domesticate the dog or the cow or any of these fucking shit. If not for idiots like this. So they have their place.
Over a long period of time.
Right.
And those animals.
But there had to be the first idiot that was like, wolf make
but there's differences. You know what I mean? There's differences in these animals, though, TJ.
Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Scotty.
Big difference. Wait, cows are herd animals.
Yep.
So they look,
so are deer. Didn't make a fucking difference when that fucking deer.
I've seen a number of people
in the pen with the deer when it was rutting.
They didn't do it right.
Do you think our ancestors that domesticated the dog had pens and shit for them?
Yes.
Nope.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, almost certainly they had some sort of thing.
Also, for animals.
They artificially selected for that shit.
They artificially selected the dogs that were nicer too. If a dog showed aggression, it would like those puppies would probably kill.
All I'm saying is that domestication's a long process, and the first stages of it are always going to be messy.
Okay, well,
TJ.
Let's keep in mind the similarity between all of the animals that you've talked about
maybe
here.
Fucking 10,000 years from now, cassowaries will be a fucking common house pet because of fucking pioneers like this guy.
I highly doubt it.
But you know what? We don't have time to argue that because we got to get to our fucking final story. Fuck to death by camel.
I mean, what else can you say? I mean, I know you have more to tell us, but I just don't think you can top that.
Pam Weaver of Queensland, Australia, was a sheep and cattle farmer that loved animals. For her 60th birthday, her husband, Noel, gave her a camel. On August 20th, 2007, Pam and Noel went to feed the farm's various animals. Pam went to one side of the farm and Noel went to the other. When Noel later found Pam, she was dead. An investigation discovered that the 10-month-old, 336-pound camel began mating with Pam while she was getting his food. The camel knocked her to the ground, stomped on her, and then proceeded to lay on top of her and literally fuck her to death. The animal's semen was found in and around Pam. This fucking camel was fucking nuts, dude.
Camel, no means no.
The camel apparently had a history of erratic sexual behavior. He had tried to mate with a goat at one point. It is believed the camel was sexually repressed, as it had no other members of its own species to interact with. Craig Gregory, Detective Senior Constable for Queensland Police, said, "I'd say it's probably been playing, or it may have even been a sexual sort of thing." I mean,
okay, so I was going to ask, what are the chances that this was like an engineered thing that went awry? You know,
maybe. One camel expert, Chris Hill, claimed the animal's behavior was definitely sexual.
No shit.
Noel claims to have no ill will towards the camel that killed his wife and only regrets not buying her a llama or a paca because they were too expensive.
Oh, fuck, dude. He was a cheap ass. Like, camel, that's cheaper. We'll go.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this was a planned
remorse,
thing, but, you know.
Dude, that's some severe buyer's remorse right there.
I guess I should have sprung for the alpaca.
No, look, Camel, no hard feelings. I mean, I know you were hard up and everything. I really should have bought that alpaca. Like, what the fuck,
you know,
bro?
Camel's got a hump, right?
So cautionary tale to those out there thinking of buying their wife or girlfriend.
Here's Camel's fucking, just so you know what's going on.
Damn, I got like people sniffing them and shit. What you guys doing?
Other camels are like, what's going on here again?
It's like I'm busting a nut.
Camel,
she's a screamer.
I know, she's fucking vocal.
That dude's trying to bust a nut, and the other camel's up in his face. Like, get the fuck out of my face, dude! Come on!
All these camels. Oh yeah, they're fucking there. Yeah, look at that. Sniff.
How's that feel? Does that feel good? You like it?
The other camel that's fucking her doesn't even look like he's kind of like every now and again he'll be like, eh.
Dude, camels are some lazy motherfuckers when it comes to sex. They're just like, oh, it's in.
She's just like, she's obviously faking. She's Meg Ryan in that shit for sure.
Yeah, she's faking it for sure.
There ain't no way.
He's not bringing any dick game here.
I know. He's like, it's like trying to get the penetration. The dude's like, I want to get the dick actually going in there.
Let's see if we can get it close up.
Come on, give us a fucking show. Anyway, that's our show.
Okay.
I think Camel's fucking is probably the tone to end on, right?
Yeah. Naturally.
All right, show's over. Go away.